we did Fantastic Mr. Fox, and that was on the artist or the platform formerly known as HBO Max. And
Yeah.
and the next one was is Grand Budapest Hotel, and that was also on Max.
Mhm.
And then as soon as we go to watch it, or it rolled over from May 31st to June 1st, and I guess the license expired, and it was gone.
Must have, yeah.
But I was able to catch it on DVR. Ren, you were able to find it, so it worked out.
Yeah,
But this,
watched it on a buddy's server, and then I found my physical copy, which I don't have the space to watch, so I watched it on my phone.
the as Wes Anderson intended. That's why I had that aspect
Yeah.
ratio, right?
Yeah, dude, I love that so much, and I'm just okay, I would watch it on the TV, guys, come on, but I quickly learned that it is not one for my kids to be around. In, like, the first 10 minutes, I'm like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah.
oh, I gotta turn this off."
Old naked lady.
Yeah, um,
uh, but
Jesus.
yeah, so down with HBO, or I mean, that's what they said too, right?
Max. Yeah.
down, down with Max. It worked out though, and so now we're at part two of our Wes Anderson miniseries. Are you tired of Wes Anderson yet?
No, man, not at all. I'm tired of my kids at that point, but
Thank you for joining us today. If this is your first time with us, we're the secret group of brown kids. And who are the secret group of brown kids? It's a secret. But you might see us baking hammers, chisels, and files into an artfully decorated confection to be delivered to the local prison for consumption. And on the panel joining me today is Ren, who's back from our first Wes Anderson episode of Fantastic Mr. Fox. And it's just the two of us today, so it's just me and you
breaking out
breaking
of
out of
prison.
prison and trying to clear
Yep.
your name, right?
Yep.
Or my name.
We do what we can.
I guess you can be the lobby boy who inherits everything,
Yes.
and I can be the
Perfect.
overly perfumed concierge.
Well, we share. We share now
Okay, right,
because we're brothers.
right. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We're in this together.
Uh, but yeah, dude, movie was a trip. I remember watching it and I must have been half asleep because I didn't catch nearly as much as I did on this rewatch.
Like the first time you saw it?
Yeah, I don't even know what I was thinking when I was watching the first time because I know
Mhm.
that I didn't recognize that we were starting in the present, and then it's a girl reading a book
Oh
that
yeah.
was written in
It,
1985 about an interview that happened in 1968,
mm,
retelling something that happened in 1932.
it I forgot that it started out that way, and like we're going down like Inception levels, and
Yeah.
the more I think about it, the funnier that is.
Yeah, it's like, "Go deeper. Go deeper." And then, like, by the end of the movie, they're pulling you out
Yeah, and it goes
of those.
backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, of those layers. I remembered it being after World War One, and I'm just like, "Oh, okay, so, like, kinda Eastern Europe
Yeah,
post
like
World War
it was
One."
fake countries and fake militaries, but it was clearly like supposed to be like off of a real era, just fictionalized.
Okay, yeah, kinda,
Yeah.
like, influence, like, it seemed like a contentious time to exist in that area,
Mm.
which makes me think that, part of Gustav's background is one that is possibly impacted by World War One or something if he had grown up kind of semi-local to those, like, theaters of war.
Yeah,
But,
they don't get into it. Well, eventually they say he used to be a lobby boy too, but
yeah.
we know that Zero says that the war killed his parents, and now they're about to start a second war, right? Or is it the same war killed his parents? Something like that.
I'm I'm not sure if it was a different war
Yeah,
local to his country,
yeah,
like, where he's from, but if Gustav had survived World War One
yeah.
in like really horrible conditions, it might suggest why he has such like a this crazy narcissistic survivor's mentality. You know what I mean? Like it feels like he's very much operating a grift at a very high level uh
Which I enjoy
for survival.
because he speaks a certain way with a certain level of class, and then at the end, not then this doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes at the end after he finishes talking, he's like, "Well, just fuck it."
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
But yeah,
He's always putting on show.
before we get all the way into it, just some info. Grand Budapest Hotel came out March 2014. As you already know, written and directed by Wes Anderson. $25 million budget, and it made 173 million total, 59 domestic, 113.7 international, which is a lot of money. If he didn't already have a blank check before this movie,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, this probably solidified it because I also think this was the one that got the most awards or at least nominations too. I definitely remember it being like in the conversation in Oscar season when it came out.
Um, I don't know if I was paying attention to that level,
Mm.
uh, of the movie, but I would have been surprised after the rewatch, definitely, if it wasn't well received as it was.
Oh yeah. I think if they this was like the one where like if before he might have been kind of niche, but like after this, like everybody knew his name kind of thing. Like you might have heard of him
Yeah,
before, but like now everyone at least watched this one, I think. Because this, yeah, it was pretty. Life Aquatic, I thought was everywhere, but I think this one
mhm.
really like it got even more legs than Life Aquatic.
All these guys riding his tailcoats now. I've been there for like 20 years, my guy. No, I am glad he's getting a lot more attention, to give him opportunities to make things like this and, his new flick, which is Welcome to Asteroid City. I am having trouble remembering. It's not out yet, but it's coming out soon.
I think it's just Asteroid City, but something about asteroids and cities.
Yes, it is just Asteroid City coming out later this year, or is it out
It's in
already?
July. Yeah,
Oh,
I
good.
don't know what day this episode drops, but it should be before.
I don't either, but IMDb has a rating for it already, which is a little surprising.
It probably just came out in festivals.
Okay,
Yeah.
all
Oh no,
right.
no, Cannes. Yeah,
Oh,
which
okay.
I mean technically is a festival, but yeah, it came out of Cannes.
Sheesh, they already rated it that low. Huh, interesting. Um,
I mean,
yeah, this was a trip. This was a lot of fun. I'm still gonna watch Asteroid City,
oh yeah, I'm gonna
regardless of
watch
how
it.
it gets reviewed.
Yeah, I watched French Dispatch between us watching Mr. Fox and this,
Hmm.
and I didn't really like it. Or I liked a third of it. It told like 3 or 4 different stories, and I liked about a third of it.
Oh,
But and I didn't look up the info on that one. Like I didn't do a deep dive, but I remember not a lot of people talking about it, which was
uh huh.
interesting because people never shut up about Wes Anderson. Now I kinda get why
That's
it didn't
fair.
get a
That's
lot
fair.
of buzz. So this next one, we'll see. I'm not gonna prejudge it, but Imma watch it. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
I mean, I think literally the only one I haven't seen now is Bottle Rocket, which was the first.
Bottle Rock was pretty fun. I know that I have a few of his films I need to catch up on. Um,
So I did hear that, like, he's hard to work with. I'm not gonna pass judgment on that, but I do understand, like, think about it, he has such a specific style and way
yeah,
of doing things, and he wants this to look like this, and this actor has to say this line like this, so I can see him.
I
Yeah.
can imagine him being type A, like kind of anal retentive.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? OCD almost,
Yeah.
which very much gets into what we were talking about in the last episode, which is his aesthetic is like really obvious symmetry or like really obvious asymmetry.
Yeah.
It feels like at times, and just having everything set up like a dollhouse, like those
Mhm.
exterior shots of the Grand Budapest
Oh,
Hotel
yeah.
where it looks like it's
Oh, yeah, it is.
a
Oh, yeah,
diorama.
it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which is also neat. And then I'm not sure if this was the first one. No, I don't think it was the first one where you can almost tell if you really pay attention that, like, he incorporates the dioramas into movies, like, pretty well. Like, sometimes the actor's, like, in front of it, and I don't know if they
Oh yeah,
set that up in post or if it's really just, like, a backdrop or what, but it's kinda neat, it's a part of his aesthetic. But honestly, any auteur, right? That's the word? Uh,
yep.
probably is hard to work with because they have a distinct vision they're trying to get across, and not
Hmm.
everybody gets the vision. So, like, if you're trying to really get something specific across, I can see not everybody feeling,
It's a specific taste,
yeah.
and if you have the taste, that movie is probably for you, and if you don't have it, then, well, you're probably wondering, why he doesn't have more people of, like, varying features. Everybody is still kind of, like, an idea of, like, what is, like, perfect in their minds, you know what I mean?
Mm,
You don't see people with, like, severe, like, acne scarring or something, you know what I mean? Like, the one person who really has, those affectations is, like, the dude with the scar across his face in the prison,
mm,
and, the, Agatha who has the, birthmark on her face, but everybody's very clean, you know? Everything is very clean in his movies,
yeah.
except for the one scene where he comes out of sewer.
Yeah. But yeah, this one, I don't know if I said it yet, but this is my favorite that I've seen.
Oh, good.
It was, I think, it definitely wasn't my first one that I saw. It might have
Mhm.
been third ish. I definitely saw Life Aquatic and Tenenbaums first.
Yeah.
Yeah, this might have been my third one, and then I caught up on the rest across like the last decade or so. But yeah, it's still my favorite, and we can get into it. Well, I mean, we kind of already started, but if you don't know by now, we're gonna spoil the movie. I mean, I know it's 9 years old, but uh, go watch it if you can find it because it's definitely not on HBO Max or Max. Uh, it'll pop back up after the new movie comes out. Probably they probably did that
More than
on
likely.
purpose. Yeah, the Grand Budapest Hotel. So, oh, also shout out Tim, who's usually with us, but he lost his voice because he sang so hard last night at his show.
It's too committed.
Yeah, I told him I was like, "Do you want to sit out? Do you want to float the episode, or do you want to come on the episode, but just be Batman and we just won't address it?" And he said he thought about it, but he was like, "No, I'll just." uh, but yeah, so film starts out with the bump on the furthest boundary of the European continent, the former Republic of Zabrowka, once the seat of an empire. And then we see a girl enter a cemetery and place a key among other kids or other keys on a grave statue, monument. What do you call that?
Oh,
Uh,
I think I just recognize what the keys are.
oh, hotel keys, the room keys. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. It's clicking now. So I'm just like,
Mhm.
why did they give that guy the key? Okay, but they're giving him hotel keys, even though he was the author
Yeah. So I guess
about.
they're just like I guess it's like a weird fan thing. Like
I guess so.
maybe I was trying to think of an example that isn't somebody controversial. uh,
That's hard nowadays.
yeah, I mean, I legit don't want to say the one I'm thinking of because fuck her. But
Okay, let's skip over it
but yeah. Anyway, so they bring the keys to
to
the grave.
the bust
Y-
of a, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, of an author.
and like and then we see her holding the book called The Grand Budapest
Mhm.
Hotel. And it's
That's the first layer of the dream.
yeah, so level 1, written by, the author whose grave she's at. Then level 2, the book written in 1985 recounts his
Yes.
1968 vacation to the once grand but currently unremarkable hotel, right? And the author befriends the owner of the hotel, Zero Mustafa, who tells him the story of how he came to own the hotel. So now we're in 1968. Now we go down another layer to 1932. So now we're back in time where a young Zero Mustafa, and he's the new junior lobby boy in training under the tutelage of the concierge, Monsieur. I'm not even sure. So forgive my French, Monsieur Gustave. He was the most liberally perfumed man he'd ever met, and Zero realized that a lot of the guests actually came to the hotel for Monsieur Gustave. They all fit a certain type as well: rich, old, insecure, vain, superficial, blonde, and needy.
But why blonde?
Just because they just were. But yeah,
Cyclical logic. I see this now.
so think about it. Like, dude was out here just slinging, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's living his best sugar
You know,
baby life.
he's bedding down broads left and right, and they all come to see him, So he's almost like a
Actually, I shouldn't say
I won't call him a
yeah,
gigolo,
I
but
shouldn't say sugar baby or gigolo because he was still a working man and not in the sense like
that's true.
like a gigolo, but
Well,
he
it's really funny because the writing does its best to obfuscate, like, how you see his character is, like, is he committed to being a concierge?
yeah,
Is he a con man?
he
Is he
he's
just a
kind
guy?
of a little bit of both, but you do also get the
Yep.
sense that, like, he legit just likes old women. Like,
Yeah, which is funny because they lean more and more into that. It's like, is he that he likes old women? It's like, I think he just likes
he
himself.
just likes himself, and they like him.
Yeah,
So, like, that's why he likes old women, these type of women, because they wanna adore him. So it's actually
and he wants to be adored, so it's
really
a
funny.
weird kinda codependence, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Alright, and, so Zero said they worked 6 days each week and half a day on Sundays, 5 a.m. until after midnight.
Yeah, and I love that literally everything outlined is, like, basis for the worst person ever, because if you pull it out of context,
Yeah,
Gustav would be literally just a giant piece of shit,
yeah,
like, now.
yeah,
He works his people way too hard, they sit down don't get me wrong, I would eat 5 meals a day,
mhm.
but to say, like, "Hey, we need to be productive about this," and he always wants to be like an orator and read poetry and speeches and shit. It's like, I don't know,
At
he's
some
such a
point, he
narcissist.
gives a letter with he said 46 stanzas, so we should go ahead and start eating the
Yeah,
soup.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna read it,
Yeah,
okay? Like, I'm not gonna skip it, but you may as well just eat now.
yeah. And yeah, and then, we also this is the first time we see Agatha, but we won't discuss that.
Mm,
And then one
it's too
day,
painful.
Zero rushed to, Monsieur Gustave with the morning paper that proclaimed tanks were at the border and war could break out. Also, Dowager Countess found dead in boudoir for Madame Celine Villeneuve d'Esgauve und Taxis. Survivor
You put way more effort into that than I would've.
like, I'm proud. Survivor of 3 husbands, mother of 4 children, matriarch of arguably the greatest private fortune on the continent, found dead and partially decomposed on the Carrara marble floor of her ensuite bathroom, the first of its kind in the history of the region. Madame Celine
Partially decomposed seems a little extreme, but
yeah, just a nice little touch. And Madame D was his favorite guest. And Monsieur
yeah.
Gustave had commented previously that the last time he saw her off, she was shaking like a shitting dog.
Yeah. And I think you get the idea that he is very much putting on a show
Oh yeah,
because every time something's just too extreme, you know what I mean? He'll break
oh
character.
yeah.
You're like, She's shaking like a shitting dog,"
Always,
and even Zero recognizes like, "The
it's
fuck did you
always
just say right now?"
at the end of like just the
Yeah.
whatever he's talking about, real classy, yada yada yada. Da, da, da. Which, by the way, I'm gonna say this several times. Ray Fiennes, who plays Gustav, like he sells the shit out of his. Like he's also, he's an
Oh
iconic
yeah.
actor, like one of the greats. But like, I don't want to say he carried the movie because everything about the movie is great. But like his performance is definitely like the wheels. Like he
I think they would have lost out if they did not cast him
yeah.
specifically.
So he's so perfect in this role. But yeah, uh he'd always say something real classy, and then like if it's really bad at the end, he'll the old blue collar comes out, right?
Yeah. He just seems to run hot and then remembers himself, and then, like, he'll decide whether or not he wants to just, like, kinda continue. He's like, "Oh, well,
Oh yeah.
fuck it."
So Gustav takes Zero with him to the Madame D's estate, and he continues to talk about her and mentions she had a premonition that he ignored about how all of Lutz, which is like the area they're in, Lutz was or area she's from, Lutz was dressed in black except for her own ghastly, deceitful children, whom she loved but couldn't bear to kiss, and they were dancing like gypsies.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
that's right, problematic.
yeah.
Okay, okay. It's 1932.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay."
Yeah, they say some more. problematic stuff. It's yeah. Anyway, so the train stops and troops board and ask for their documents, and Gustav tries to flatter them, but because they didn't approve of Zero's papers because he was an immigrant.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so they slam both of the men up against the wall, prompting Gustav to shout out, "Take your hands off my lobby boy!" And like that's the moment when, like, even though it kind of painted him as this real, not bastard, but like you said, like piece of shit.
Yep,
So
yep.
far, you realize, okay, but there's still a part of him that's a good person because he's really sticking up for Zero, this little brown kid.
Yeah, it kinda cracks me up because, the whole shtick is, like it seems it'll be reinforced later
Yeah,
when, he calls upon the Society of the Cross Keys, but every concierge seems to have
yeah,
their bellboy.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Their little protege is
The Jedi
like
Master and his
and that's
Padawan.
what he wants. Yeah, and actually in that scene, which is really funny, Zero still is drawing on his mustache, right?
Yeah.
And both of them had, like, the exact same nosebleed.
Yeah.
So they were in the same suit, same mustache, same hair,
Same
same
nosebleed.
nosebleed. I'm just like, "Ha
Yeah, see what I did?
protege."
Yeah. Later on in the movie, he eventually answers a question that Zero asks in this scene that he was a lobby boy too. Yeah.
Yep.
But, so yeah, so they get off the hook when an officer comes in played by Edward Norton. I forgot what his name was.
Finally, Edward Norton. I did too.
It's like Heckler or Henkler, something like that.
I'll just look it up.
Henkels. Henkels.
Yep.
Officer Henkels. Yeah, he comes on and he recognized Gustav and remembered his kindness towards him from when from when he was a boy.
Mhm.
So I guess it's
But that's the thing, man.
yeah.
Like, he's just always trying to increase those interactions
Mhm.
so he can, like, "Oh, yeah, no, I remember
Yeah,
you.
social
Look at you,
cues.
you're an officer now." I could probably exploit that to my advantage if need be, but it was on the best concierge, that's why.
I mean, true, but also I think it's like there's also like it's genuine to an extent.
It's difficult to tell what of him is genuine and what is not.
Mm,
That's why I think every time he's trying to talk all flowery and, you know,
there's a
just hear
break.
his own voice, I think that is kind of an act. I think it's
Yeah,
something that he's compelled to do.
yeah.
But I think the parts where he's just
I think
like
I think
let me
he's
see here.
or maybe this is just me projecting
Yeah.
or something, but I think he's genuinely a good person, even though he's low key a con artist.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
totally. I think there's an argument to be made there.
Like, or just a social person, right? Like, I mean, we'll get into it in a second, but yeah,
Yeah, it's difficult to differentiate between, like, his own self-interest. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, is it good that he's coming back around, he's, like, apologizing to Zero at one point, or is it just like, "Oh, wait, I need you around." Okay. It's difficult to tell, but I do agree.
So they arrive at the Madame D's estate, and immediately
Mhm.
he goes to view the dead body, and he's like talking to her and stuff like,
Very
"Oh, you
nonchalantly.
look so beautiful. You haven't looked this beautiful since like you've never looked more alive." It is just how he, like, grabs her dead arm and then throws it back
Yeah.
down and, like, it was so funny, like, he's still flattering her even after she's dead because she was his favorite old woman, right?
I don't know if she was his favorite, but apparently he
He
was
was her fa he was
hers?
definitely hers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then later they see, the will being read by Deputy Vilmos Kovacs, played by Jeff Bloom, who actually comes up to the hotel, like, once a month on behalf of the mysterious owner because no one knew who owned the hotel.
Oh, Jeff Goldblum, yeah.
Yeah, to, like, check the books and stuff, right? And then he
Something along
announces
those lines.
that the priceless painting Boy with Apple is to be left to Monsieur Gustave H, much to the audience's chagrin, including, like, his children, right? And Madame D's son,
Especially his
oh,
children, yeah.
man, Madame D's
Or children,
son,
yeah.
played by Adrian Brody, like, he jumps up and, he says some real messed up stuff to him.
Oh, yeah,
He charges Gustav.
1932, different time.
Oh, yeah. Gustav insulting him, and he run like, he runs a fade, he just duffs him, and he immediately when he punches Gustav,
Yep.
Zero punches him, and then Willem Dafoe, who plays, like, Dimitri's henchman, what's his name?
Mhm.
JG Joplin, he punches Zero. So it's like, boom, boom, boom. Uh, very, fast-paced Wes Anderson flow. But yeah, it was funny. So they get back up and they argue a bit more. And after the fight, like Gustav and Zero go to see the painting that he
Mhm.
was left, and then they decide to take the shit because there's still like they still have to like or Kovac still has to like verify that he indeed gets it because that information was like submitted like after the fact.
Yeah, the problem is also that there's like this rising temperature in the area as Adrian Brody's character is just like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna kill you.
yeah,
I'm gonna kill you. I got the perfect Willem Dafoe version right here, where it's like rings on both hands to make brass knuckles.
yeah.
Uh, I think Willem Dafoe played his part perfectly in this movie.
Even had like the
One of my favorite characters.
what was it like his bottom canine teeth were gold, so it like stood out. So
Oh, it's,
he kind of looked like a bulldog.
yeah, that's perfect. His face doesn't even change the entire time.
Mm-mm.
I think it's one of the best.
He just
And the
always
whole
looks like
he looks he doesn't look displeased though. You know what I mean?
yeah,
There's always kind of like look of satisfaction on his face, but just very stern and like
yeah.
is the funniest thing. And every part with him in it, he's just so effective.
Do you like J.G. Joplin more than you like Rat, or is Rat better?
Yeah, yeah. Well, he had a bigger role.
Yeah,
He had a bigger role. This is hard not to.
I think he had a bigger role, but
Super
said
funny
less.
though.
He had less
That
lines
is
in this than
that's very true.
Mr. Fox. Yeah.
That was the compromise.
we
He
see
said to Wes Anderson, "It's like you could put me in more scenes, but I ain't saying shit."
you see him more, hear him less.
Yeah, yeah. I'll take it this time.
But yeah, so they steal the painting, and
Yep. They hightail it out of
right
there.
before they dip,
It's the butler for the area.
yeah, his name is Serge X, the Madame D's
That's
for
it.
the estate. He helps him escape, or not
Yep.
escape, but he wraps it for him. Wraps the painting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wraps a painting and he slips in
Oh
a
yeah, he's
confidential envelope into the back.
yeah. We don't see it happen though, right? We
We do see it, but
we don't know what's
the main
happening.
character does not.
Okay,
Gustav and Zero do not know it's there.
gotcha. Okay, I didn't even catch it. But yeah, on the train ride back, Gustav decides to sell the painting and asks Zero to
Yep.
continue to assist him for 1.5% of the painting. And
Well, you're not a fence,
he say,
so
"Okay, but you'll inherit everything from me because I'm surely to die first." And Zero agrees.
some foreshadowing.
Right?
Um,
Uh,
I think it's really funny because I had seen a little quip online about like how every Wes Anderson movie has like a heist or something. You know, like
yeah,
really, I had to think back a
and
minute,
I
and
gotta
then
really
like we
look
literally just watched
because
Fantastic Mr.
that was
Fox, and
definitely
now we
nice.
watch. Yeah, we have to watch Grand Budapest, which is like it's kind of a heist, it's kind of a long con,
Yeah.
it's kind of a prison breakout. It's like, oh, okay, we're just gonna go for broke and hit everything.
So it's definitely a funny follow up. Like there's a lot
Yeah.
of parallels, at least with Mr. Fox. But yeah, so Gustav gets arrested and the alleged or for the alleged murder of Madame D. And apparently, the butler from Madame D's estate said he saw him at the estate just before her death, but now he's missing. Which
Hmm.
take that with a grain of salt. And we see the henchman, or I'm just calling him henchman Defoe, Joplin,
Yep.
hunting for him, right? But also
Yep.
on the phone with Dimitri saying he never liked the butler because he was too honest. He was too honest.
Oh man.
And in prison now, Gustav befriends a gang and treats Zero. Or he befriends a gang in prison with the treat Zero brings him from Mendel's bakery.
Oh wait. There was one thing that I wanted to say about that agreement they made on the
Oh,
train
sure.
about selling the painting and
Yeah.
everything. It was cracking me up that like every time there's like a movement toward like something that sounds like extremely sincere,
Mm.
and he's like, Zero, let's make a blood oath. And you're like a blood this guy talking about blood oath for this milk toast guy over here talking about blood
He's
oath.
just so dramatic.
And then he like sits up on the bed. He drops a bunch of numbers on him, and to end the blood oath, he's like, "Oh, take note. We're gonna make a contract." I'm like, "A contract on a blood oath? This is our paper. We're gonna lick our thumb and then just stamp it at the bottom." Um, I'm sorry. That was more of that like weird break between like the words he uses
Yeah.
and his intent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like we're moving towards something very like extreme and emotional, like the blood oath. Okay, I make a solemn swear, and then it's like, okay, go ahead and take note. Take note. We're gonna write it down. I'm gonna get a notary to approve this blood oath.
Dramatic Gustav.
Yeah. How did he? Wait, I'm trying to remember. How did he get caught specifically?
Oh, what's it, Henkler or whatever? They just pulled up on him and arrested him at the hotel, which was funny because when they're
That's
like
right.
in the lobby and they show up and they're like, "We're here to arrest you for the murder of Madam D," and he just turns around and
He
falls
just bolts. Yeah. He doesn't have a single nice flowery thing to say. He's just like, oh, bye. He just bolts.
yeah, because like
Okay.
he knew what he's going up against, right? Like he already saw the family at the estate. He knew.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Okay, I get it now. All right,
yeah,
and now we're in prison, right? Because that's next scene is Zero goes to jail
yeah,
to speak with him, right?
yeah, because Kovacs meets with Zero and tells him what's going on, and Zero goes to Gustav to tell him that
Got it. I'm tracking now.
the butler allegedly is the one that said he saw him at the estate right before she died, which is a lie. But he's also missing.
Yeah, it's such a dense movie because like we
Mm,
are talking before,
yeah,
it's like 10 minutes of setup into the timeline, and then like an
and then it just
hour and
runs.
20 minutes of just wham, 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 wham details, and then okay, I get where we are now.
Yeah, so
Zero visits him. He's in prison and he has two black eyes, and
I
he's just beat the shit out of a dude, and he talks about how well he beat the dude up,
yeah,
and
and
then
he's telling Zero
he
basically like
immediately says afterwards, "Oh yeah, but he's great.
yeah,
He's a great guy. We made up in the meantime. Super sweet dude."
and
So that just speaks to him just still working as a concierge
mhm,
almost.
smoothing things over.
Yeah,
And he
it's good for business.
but also teaching because he remember the whole time he's also proud that he taught Zero well. So he's also
Yeah.
teaching Zero a lesson, and he was like, "Just so you know, never be a candy ass." Like, that's the moral of
Just
the
don't be a
story.
punk bitch. Don't you do it,
If
Zero.
you end up in jail,
Uh,
do what you gotta do. But yeah,
my God, dude, it's cracking me up.
then we see him, like, interacting with folks in the prison, and, like, I guess his job is
Yep,
to deliver food, and he's like, "Hey, would you like some, fine mush to this morning?"
yep. There's a pinch of salt, you know.
It's not so bad.
He sells it, and he sells it
They're
well.
selling it. And we see him, like, he befriended, one gang in the prison because he would share or Zero would bring, Mendel's treats, bakery cake and stuff for him,
All
and
hey, don't forget about our hulking Scarface,
oh,
man.
yeah,
Remember?
he sold him on the mush and, like
He feeds a convict,
yeah,
and there'll be a little bit of smoking gun there later for him. So,
yeah. Even though he never says anything, he's just, he's like 8 feet
yep,
tall, got a giant
he doesn't
scar,
need to.
but you
Yeah,
know what? He respects, Gustav. So,
sold him on the mush.
the mush
It's all about the mush.
literally calls it mush.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we go this one gang that he's cool with, and, like, he shares his Mendel's cake with them, and
Oh
so
yeah.
they let him in that they're planning a prison break, and before we started recording, we are talking about Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah.
This is, Harvey Keitel? Harvey Keitel's, a prisoner, and he basically does the Shawshank Redemption thing where he knows that the prison is kinda falling apart, he figured out a way to get out through the sewers. So they formulate a plan. Then we get an explanation of finally who Agatha is, and she's a baker at Mendel's Bakery, and
Ah yes.
Zero falls in love with her, and, like, they even get engaged, and she's helping out by baking tools into the cake for Zero to take to the prison to help them escape.
Yep.
And, like, then we get a scene where, like, the guard who checks all of the packages is, like, chopping things up and poking holes in them to make sure nothing's inside the food, but then when he gets to Mendel's cake, they're so artfully decorated and, he can tell that it's, like, a lot of work goes into the presentation that he doesn't
Yeah.
chop it up, and that's how they
It's so
fly
funny
through.
because all of them are the exact shape of the tools too. It's just like, it's like he gets a cake shaped like a jigsaw. He's just like, wow, look at that. It's from Mendel's.
Look,
Uh, but he doesn't
it's art, though.
his
It's
respect to the artist, he
art.
just passes it along. So is pretty funny. It's like, okay, is it so flat and small that he's like, oh, it's probably fine, or it's like, no, it's just a Mendel's. It's a Mendel's.
Like
You don't
like,
desecrate a
you see him
Mendel's.
look at it and not even, like, a look at it like, "Could there be anything?" He
Yeah,
just looks at it like, taking it in like, "Beautiful," and
yeah.
passes it on.
So I wonder what else they could have gotten away with if they just decorated it nicely.
Right? It's funny. But yeah, so next we also get a scene with Miss Madam D's children, and they meet with Deputy
Oh,
Kovac.
yeah.
This shit, they meet with Deputy Kovacs about the situation, and Dmitri tells them not to cause any waves, right? And Kovac says he'll do whatever he's supposed to do according to law,
Yeah.
and
It's because he's a lawyer and not their
yeah,
lawyer.
he's like, my fee was already paid. I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. And Dimitri ain't like that shit. And Willem Dafoe, Joplin henchman,
Oh,
he was
love
over
it.
there. He was in the background petting a cat, and I don't even
Yeah,
think
you could
I don't even
nobody knows.
yeah, like I don't remember if we see that that's Kovac's cat before. I just now noticed
You
cat for the
know,
first time. So when Kovac says, "No, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do according to law," and Dimitri gets mad and goes to leave, Willem Dafoe throws the cat out the fucking window.
I think that's what cracks me up about this movie is that it's there are extended scenes where it's like kind of boring because there's a conversation that you really have to pay attention to, and then there's these very abrupt acts of violence throughout the movie
Mhm.
that like totally just like slap you. They're like, oh,
Oh shit!
okay, that just happened. One of which is Joplin tossing a cat out a window.
Kovacs get or he's like, "Did he just throw my cat out the window?" And like
Yep.
Dimitri and Joplin leaves, and he left the three sisters there or the three daughters, and they're like, no, I'm not sure what it is. That's what I
No,
saw."
no,
Like they're
no.
full of shit too. But yeah, like he knew he just saw his cat get thrown out of a window, and then he gets up and he goes and looks, and then we see like this the splattered cat like 5 stories down,
Yeah. Poor Kovacs.
right?
Just trying to do his job.
And he lost his cat.
Yeah. You'll lose more than that.
Wonder
Um,
what's worse, this cat death scene or Boondock Saints cat death scene?
oh man, don't put this in my
I'm
mind.
s
I can't even
yes, I'm
I
sorry.
watched that so
You
many
know what?
times as a
Moving
kid.
on.
I barely remember. Um,
I think the other one this one was funny, the other one was like, "Holy shit."
did Willem Dafoe kill that cat too? I can't
No,
remember.
no, no, it was, the 3rd one, the friend, the one that wasn't the brother, Rocco?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
because
okay,
they were,
okay.
like,
I'm having
drinking
trouble placing that cat
they
too.
were
Yeah.
drinking and the cat was just on the table and the gun was in the middle of the table and he just slaps the table or he slaps the gun and it goes off and you just see the cat splatter on
Yep.
yeah,
Okay, that
anyway.
clicks now. I remember.
I just remember first time I saw it, I was like, "Holy shit."
I think the most random cat violence is in this movie,
Mm,
where the other one is just mostly violence.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
The acts of violence in this one are so like abrupt and come out of like left field that you're just like, oh, okay, okay, all right, I'm paying
It's
attention
still
now.
comical though. Yeah.
It is, it is.
Alright, enough
I don't
about
think I
dead
could watch this
cats.
if it's serious.
So, Gustav and the prison gang escape successfully, and, like, one even sacrifices himself in the process, taking out 5 gambling guards.
It's pretty
Yeah, because
badass.
they open a hatch or whatever, and, like, the guards are below playing cards, and he's just like, "Well, this is what I'm here for," and he pulls out his they mentioned it before because that's what they cut the cake with. What did he call it? His, the throat
The
cutter?
throat slitter,
Yeah.
yeah, throat cutter. That's it.
And he pulls out the throat cutter, jumps down the hole, and fights all of them. But he dies in the
He just
process.
turns into Vince Vaughn in Brawl in Cell Block 99
Mm.
and just knifes everybody, kills all the guards, dies in the process, whatever.
But he helps them escape, and so Zero's waiting for them outside the sewer exit, and the other prisoners it was really funny because like I don't know if that bus was waiting for them, and if they just got on the bus and then just took out the
I think it just pulled up. I thought it was a prison bus that pulled up and they killed the driver.
okay, yeah, and
I think they're
meanwhile.
assaulting him when it panned back.
And there was this they could have gotten on the bus to leave with them, but Gustav was busy freaking out.
Yeah.
Because
He wasn't he missing like his Sex Panther cologne or whatever it
oh
was?
yeah, Zero didn't have a new disguise. He thought the disguise that they were wearing were the disguises, and he's like, "No, I'm covered in sore and crap." Like, he
Yeah.
didn't have a safe house ready, and he didn't bring the cologne.
Yeah.
Was it pistache? But yeah,
Something leather something I can't remember off the top of my head.
but anyway, they sorted out. He apologizes. That's also when Zero says, his parents died in the war, or the war killed
Mhm.
him, something like that, and they run away. And later on, they make contact with a fraternity of concierges known as the Society of the Cross Keys.
Oh, one thing I did want to say, which had me curious, was we were talking about what Gustav's like history was like,
Mhm.
and whether or not he grew up impacted by World War I.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, after hearing Zero's story, he came back around because he's really chewing into Gustav,
Yeah.
or
0.
Gustav is chewing into Zero for
Yeah.
like it seems like forever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, dude, I'm a refugee basically." And then he comes back around. He's like, "Oh crap, oh crap." So I can't tell if like that is like he identifies more with Zero because he forgets
Yeah.
uh Zero's background, or if Sorry, you can get back to what you're talking
No, you're
about.
good, you're
Um,
good. But yeah, they
Come back around, Society of Cross Keys.
Society of the Cross Keys, and of course, this is when we, get the Bill Murray cameo. He plays a concierge that comes and picks him up, and, he catches him up on everything, including how they located the missing butler, and
Mm-hmm.
then he sets him up with a ride on a train to go meet with the butler, right?
Yeah, is really fun to watch because we have so many different concierges getting called, and every single one has their own protege butler boy,
Yeah,
or
behind
bus
Lobby
boy,
Boy.
lobby
Yeah.
boy. Every single one has their protege, and they're constantly like, "Oh, I gotta go make a phone call, finish doing this." Is like, I don't know, it's really great to see. It kind of reinforces the relationship that Zero is supposed to have with Gustav in general.
Mhm.
Like, he needed a lobby boy anyways.
It's pretty neat. So, the troops from before, who also locked Gustav up,
Yep.
they received a package. I guess it's a military state, huh? They received a package with the head of the butler's sister in it. Like, did they receive a pack? I don't know, but somehow
I think they
they
found it. I
found it.
don't know if they received it.
Yeah, because I was about to say that's kind of weird. Like, why would you send the anyway? Yeah, they found a picnic basket or something, and they opened it. And it had the butler's sister, and we saw Willem Dafoe knock at her door asking about her brother. So yeah, he killed her too. So yeah, then we get Gustav and Zero meet with the butler after like a funny little, I don't know what you call that, but them going up and down the
All the
cable
dioramas?
the
Yeah.
cable carts and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
"Hey, put this on and sing." And eventually they met up with him. They're all pretending to be monks or priests or whatever. I think they're monks in the what do you call that? The confessional.
Mhm. Then, in there, they get to talk to the butler
And he
finally.
tells him that Madame D had a second will,
Yep.
and in the event that she was murdered, right? Because I guess she felt it coming, right? Which I guess
Mhm.
that's what she was talking about when he said that she was like a shitting dog, shaking like a shitting dog, and she had the premonition.
She wasn't being, like, paranoid. It was like, "No, my family might try to kill me,"
Yeah,
kinda
and
thing.
she knew her kids were like pieces of shit too. So yeah, that's why it was created at the last minute, and the butler knew that he had to protect it. So yeah, so the butler disappears, and they find him murdered on the other side of the confessional, and then they see henchman Defoe in a monk robe escaping, and they chase after, and then we get this really
Mhm.
comical. Well, it's not that funny, but it's neat to see their like mountain chase, and it was like
It's basically like free ski or whatever it
yeah, and it was,
was.
like, super fast paced and
Yeah.
yeah, and eventually they chase down the mountain, and eventually, the foe, like, slips off right before a cliff, and then the sled flies off, but we see that, like, Gustav and Zero bail too, and, like, we see Zero's feet sticking out the snow, and Gustav is, like,
Yep.
hanging on the edge of the cliff, and the foe starts to, like, instead of, like, stomping on his fingers, he just starts to stomp on, like, the ground to crack the edge because it's like a piece of ice, but
Yeah, it's really cracked me up. Like, everybody landed in, like, very perfect he landed on his skis right next to his
yep.
bike. Like, everybody's there on the cliffside. It's very, like, picturesque. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, and, but luckily Zero gets himself out and he shows up and pushes, the foe off the cliff, saving Gustav.
When I say that the acts of violence in this movie are just abrupt and extreme, that's exactly what I mean. Willem Dafoe's character lets out the most horrifying yell as his arms are flailing. Flying off the side of a cliff is the funniest shit to watch. I had to rewatch it like 2 or 3 times just because it was so, like, everything's quiet, he's giving a speech, whatever, and then all of a sudden just Willem Dafoe scream. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
So, Edward Norton, Henkler, and the troops show up from, like, the other side of the cliff, and he calls out to
Yeah.
them, and he was like, "You know, if you turn yourselves in, I'm assuring your safety." And Gustav and Zero's like, we're gonna take his motorbike and escape."
Yeah, it's not like, "I'll clear my name." It's like, No, there's something that's very, like, I think prudent,
Yeah.
I think is the word that I'm looking for, and kinda crude about because there was very much the, "I will die with this painting,"
Mhm.
but with the blood contract, and then it was like, "Hey, what if we just sold the painting?"
Oh, wow.
You know?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
mhm.
I would say prudent, but there is something very, like, kinda crass about the prudence because it's very much the same thing when, the old woman asked him to light a candle in her name, and he says, "I'll do it myself, like, I'll do it personally."
Yeah.
He takes the coin, and then, he gives it to Zero. He doesn't even tell Zero, "Hey, buy the nicest candle, da, da, da." He says, "Hey, get a regular candle, uh, light her name at the church, get me a coffee on your way back, give the change to the shoe boy." And even then, that's not even on the top of his list. So he
Yeah.
like, it's very funny to see how he's like, well, how will this benefit me? Okay, it's not that important. So even now, it's not like I don't know. I have to clear my name and da da da. And I have the Grand Budapest. It's like, let's go sell that painting. Let's get out of here. We got stuff to do. So
And
a lot
so
of fun.
yeah.
Next step is them fleeing.
Yeah, so they get away on a bike, and then next we see Agatha arrive at the hotel to retrieve the painting, and
Hmm.
then Gustav and Zero pull up out front, but like they see that like the hotel's being like converted into military headquarters, and they're hanging what would be
Kind
Nazi
of like
flags.
SS
Yeah,
posters, yeah, and banners.
yeah. So they're like, we need to go in there and save him. 'Cause they also see Dimitri pull up, and he has a armband on, like he's one of
Yeah,
which, of course, because if he's not evil enough, right? I don't think they
and then we get our
mentioned.
boy Edward Norton.
Oh yeah, so they go into. It's funny when they go into the hotel staff recognizing them, and they're like, "Holy shit! Like, what
Yeah,
are they doing here?" But no one like,
everybody's quiet
yeah, because you know, they probably don't want
because
the
snitches get stitches.
yeah, they probably don't want all the military in there anyway. And so they go up, they're trying to find Agatha. Oh, Dimitri finds Agatha first in the 'cause they end up in the
Mhm.
same, elevator, and he just, like, rips because the painting's wrapped in, like, butcher paper, whatever, and he, like, just rips it open, and he's like, "Hmm, nice painting." And she gets off at the next stop and hauls ass, and then he goes after her, but he's not even running, he's just, like, walking menacingly.
Yeah,
And
he's,
then
like, surprised she runs. It's like, yeah, of course you gotta run.
right? Like, you look like an evil person, man, like
Yeah,
anyway, so he sees, Gustav and Zero, and he starts shooting at him, but then, like, soldiers come out of their rooms and hear gunfire, so they start shooting back.
yeah.
It's
It's literally one of the worst places to do
but
it.
it was
A hotel full of soldiers.
I'm a little confused here because the hotel isn't there 2 isn't it 2 armies? Or is it all the same? 'Cause, Edward Norton wore gray. Adrian Brody and, like, the SS folks, they wore black. And then folks were coming out of rooms wearing both gray and some were wearing black. So were
I don't think that they were opposing forces. I
they just
thought that,
started shooting
like
because they heard shooting?
yeah, I feel like Edward Norton was, like, the first wave of, like, soldiers, kind of inducted into this,
Okay, and, like,
whereas the following was, like, more cruel,
I got you. So, like, the
because
black
I think it was the
uniforms.
same.
I
Yeah,
got you.
because black uniforms were in the last part of the movie that was in black and white,
Yeah, I got you. But it was
you know what I
the
mean? So I
same
don't know if it's a different
force.
wave or yeah.
Got
But, with that said, probably one of the worst places to start shooting a gun is, like, in a hotel full of soldiers that also have guns.
Yeah, so and that's exactly
So,
what happens because hilarity ensues when everyone just starts shooting, and,
yeah.
Edward Norton pops up with Owen Wilson, who's the current acting concierge for the hotel,
Mhm.
so we gotta get the Owen Wilson cameo too.
Always.
And he's like, "Hey, everyone stop shooting, what's going on?" And Zero uses the opportunity to go because he notices the windows open behind, Edward Norton, so he runs over there to go see if Agatha's safe, and she's, like, hanging from the
Yeah,
painting,
yeah.
hanging from the balcony, and
Yeah, I think it was Edward Norton shows up, says, "What's going on here?" And then Adrian Brody, continues to yell about, Rafe Fiennes Fiennes?
signs, yeah.
Fiennes. And then Rafe Fiennes yells the same thing almost,
He's a yeah,
back about
he's a
that,
murderer,
and then you
he's a
hear
murderer,
Agatha's
and
scream.
yeah. Oh, yeah, you
Yeah.
hear Agatha scream, that's what it was. Uh,
And then Zero's like, "Oh, shit," and then everybody starts shooting again because we have unlimited ammo, and,
and
yeah,
Zero
post World War One.
runs through the gunfire, down to
Mhm.
save Agatha, and she actually slips, but she lands on the the Mendel's delivery truck,
Yeah, they both do. He falls out,
Yeah.
hangs on the same thing, pulls her down basically because they're both on the same rack, and then they both fall into the truck perfectly, and that's when the confidential envelope is revealed in the back of the painting.
That's right. So then,
Probably because of Adrian Brody's character's tearing of the paper too.
which is like
So he kind of screwed
he
himself.
started the tear.
Yeah,
It's funny. But yeah, so they're like, "Hey, something's on the back of this painting," and like every now we see this scene where like all the troops are gathered around, and
I just love everybody sitting there like, oh, what's it
yeah,
say? What's it
yeah,
say?
just waiting to see what Edward Norton reads, and
Uh huh.
that's of course the second will that was missing.
And that's when we learned that everything was accurate. I think Dimitri disappears.
Oh yeah, we see that he's missing. We learn that Gustav, including or everything was left to Gustav, like everything.
Hmm.
The other thing,
Munitions, pharmaceuticals,
yeah,
industry, etc. I think.
and of course the hotel, which was obvious that she was the secret owner.
Yeah, because they made the implication when they're like, "Oh yeah, what a coincidence to see
Uh,
Kovacs
yeah,
here talking about the reading of the will
when he's
when I
also
always see him at the hotel
yeah,
because he's attached to our mysterious benefactor."
yeah,
And it's like, "Oh, okay, I understand how this all comes full circle now, and now he owns a hotel."
yeah. And because he gets everything, he's rich now. He don't got to be the concierge anymore. So he appoints Zero as the new as his successor.
Yep.
And Gustav, it's funny. The old Zero is narrating, and he says Gustav became the same as his disciples: insecure, vain, superficial, blonde, needy, and even in the end, rich.
Yeah, but he would never grow old
Yeah, oh,
because
yeah.
he just could not help running his mouth sometimes.
I mean, it worked out for well, not for him, but for Zero. So
For him.
we see Zero marry Agatha, but we hear Agatha and Zero's infant son later passed away due to Prussian grief,
Both her and her son, yeah.
and that was only like 2 years later. That's why he cries every time he thinks about Agatha.
Yeah.
And on the way to Lutz on the train, just like before, the train stopped by troops, and we see it was Gustav, Zero, and Agatha, and we see them have
Mhm.
issue with Zero's documents. And Gustav fought the troops, but was shot in the process. That's when Zero repeats what Gustav said in the beginning on the first train, saying, "There's still faint glimmers of civilization of this barbaric slaughterhouse that was once known as humanity," and Gustav was one of them. Pouring out for Gustav. But yeah, but he
Yeah.
left everything to Zero.
Mhm.
That's how Zero got the hotel, which is the whole story about what the author was talking to him about in 1968.
Yeah, and then we do the full
Yeah,
pullback
so
and be like, "Oh, no, now it's present day."
yeah. So, like, back at the dinner, with old Zero and young Arthur, Zero
Yep.
tells him that he kept the hotel in Agatha's memory, and then the author turned the story into he fictionalized the story into the book, The Grand Budapest Hotel, and then it goes backwards and it ends on the girl at the cemetery.
Yeah, so, like, a few things that I would like to touch on that I think are pretty funny was, 1, the boy with a golden apple. So this is what led me to believe that Gustav not led me, but, like, one of the things that implied it
Mhm.
is Gustav is just mostly a narcissist, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, in the same way that, like, he likes, like, old, blonde, rich, white women, you know what I mean? He is, like, an older not old, but, older,
Yeah.
white, blonde man, and the way he talks about Boy with the Golden Apple, which is the painting that he was trying to covet,
Mhm.
that he was left, rightfully, you know, um, just like, oh yeah, me and so and so used to bond about this. Uh, we used to bond about this and da da da, and like he's talking about like, oh look at like the milk white skin and the golden hair and everything. It just kind of cracked me up. But by the end of the movie though, it's not even important anymore.
Yeah.
It's so unimportant. It was going to be the thing that they sold and
Oh,
made
yeah,
millions of dollars on, but by the end of the
you got
movie, it's
everything
hanging
anyway.
crooked in the aging Grand Budapest Hotel.
That's
You know what I
funny. I
mean?
didn't even catch that it was crooked.
Yeah, it's still there, and it leads to what they were saying about Monsieur Jean as a concierge now, who is he's kind of like second rate,
Mhm. Yeah.
but like he's fine. He's just probably like overworked and tired. And it's like
Oh,
I get that.
Jason Schwartzman?
Yeah, yeah, love Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah.
It's cracked me up. It's like, oh yeah, okay, that's basically me. Um, But the painting in the back, just as a reminder, it's like, people died over this, and it
Yeah,
wasn't that important.
and now it's
You know what I mean?
just there.
Yeah, yeah. And without Zero's dedication to his wife of just keeping the hotel open in her memory, like it wouldn't even have a place. It'd probably be gone.
It's a real painting, by the way.
That specific painting in the
Wait,
movie.
no, it's not a real it's I read that wrong, I'm sorry.
Okay, I was like, wait, really?
Boy with Apple was painted by Michael Taylor,
That's
and the
it.
original sits behind a chair in Wes Anderson's London office.
Wow.
He has a London
Okay,
office. What? You're American. What are you?
that's extreme, dude. But hey, you know what? If anyone was gonna do it
Yeah,
though, I would not be surprised if it was Wes
yeah.
Anderson. You know. One of the things we skipped over, dude, was Kovac's death, which was
Oh yeah, yeah.
brief, is
How
so
how did
fast, is so
how did I
sudden.
miss it? So that after the cat gets thrown out the the window, like I think he picks it up and it's in a bag
And yeah, and the coat
in the
check.
coat check.
Coat check my dead cat.
And like he's running and he realizes the foe is chasing after him and
Yep.
he tries to get away but he doesn't and he's just about
He opens a door and he sees Defoe's bike.
and then he's like,
And
oh,
he's like, wait a
he's
minute.
behind him and you just see the door slam
Yep.
shut and cut off 4 of his fingers.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I did think I liked that when they tried to fingerprint
Oh yeah.
his corpse, there was only
And he's like,
6
yeah,
fingerprints on the
you're only
page.
able to get 6 fingerprints.
But I did think that those fingers were going to come into play later, and they'd be like, "Oh, we found these fingerprints on this guy over here, and he's guilty."
Yeah, why
It was just
why pick
no,
the fingers up? Because they found the body, but they didn't find the fingers, so why even I guess it was just because it was on the outside.
it's a flex. You know what I mean?
He probably
Why put the sister's head in a bag or a basket? It's like, no, just I could.
yeah,
I had a basket. I was gonna do something with the fingers
it's because
later.
he's a bastard. Yeah.
I pretty much,
That's
pretty
funny.
much.
Uh,
But yeah,
I'm reading here
like I said, the acts of violence very sudden,
yeah,
very quick. Like if you weren't paying attention during that scene, it's 20 seconds at most.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you would have missed it, and you'd be like, "Oh, he died." Like
Poor Jeff Goldblum.
I had to go pee, man. Like I don't know, I totally missed it.
I'm reading here that the perfume in the movie actually
Uh
got
huh.
made by a Parisian fragrance boutique, La Air de Panache, which is the air of plume.
I
The
did really like that because he's so liberally applied it.
mm,
They're constantly always like, "Oh, so you could tell when he was coming, and you can tell
yeah,
when he was there."
because
But that also kind
that's
of
how
played against him.
yeah, that kind of that's at one part that's how Edward Norton tracked him. Like he smelled the
Exactly,
perfume on
exactly.
the train that they used to get to the butler.
Yeah, but it's so funny because it's such a flex.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like he just slept with this one woman who came in,
mm.
and like it still smells like him well after he's gone, and it's like that lady's husband's gonna come back, be like, "What the fuck? Like, does this whole hotel just smell like this guy, or is it just that like he was here?"
That's funny.
Yeah, good stuff.
So what was your favorite part?
Um, I'm gonna stand by Willem Dafoe's death scene just because of how extreme it was and out of nowhere.
Mm,
I was like cackling about that so hard.
I th- I think mine is
The whole thing is so fun to
yeah, yeah,
watch,
yeah.
but
Definitely anytime Gustav was talking, but I think it was the will the will reading
oh yeah,
scene and the punching. That's probably my favorite.
dude, that punch was great, and everybody just goes
Yeah.
down
Boop, boop.
like a light, just knocking people out.
But yeah,
It's Mike Tyson's punch out, just pop, pop,
and
pop.
you already answered this. But I was gonna say, what's okay? Let's do what we talked about last time. What's your favorite character, and then what character do you think you are? What character do you think you are?
Oh man, that's hard. Favorite character. Willem Dafoe didn't say much. He can't be like my favorite
I thought
character
he
per
was.
se. I do like Willem Dafoe, but it doesn't speak well to me if I'm like, who was your favorite character? Oh, the jack-booted thug. Yeah, I really liked how that dude was just completely ruthless and attentive to detail. Although that is pretty good. Those are if I put that on a resume and said I am ruthless and dedicated, I might get some more callbacks.
That's funny.
Um, Okay, I'll say that I liked Willem Dafoe's character,
Mm.
but I don't want to liken myself to Zero because I'm already uh an inexperienced podcaster with zero experience with that. Let me see. I might need 2 seconds on that one. You do you have one locked and loaded?
uh, no.
Yeah, it's
It's
rough.
rough.
It's
It's
hard.
really hard.
I mean, I'm not a Gustav. I can tell you that
I
much.
think yeah, like I'm definitely favorite is Gustav, but
Oh yeah.
who am or what character am I? I
It's like, where's the TikTok filter to tell me
look,
this?
I guess Zero, but I don't know if I'm that
Zero.
like
It's too
it's
easy.
too easy. Yeah, uh, I don't know. I really don't know on this one. I guess I'm Kovacs. I'm
Um,
Kovacs because I have a cat, and I'd be really upset.
I I do like his dedication to his
And
work.
I don't think I can
I
outrun
will
Willem
say that.
Dafoe.
You know what? I'm the most like Willem Dafoe. We'll say
Uh,
it.
oh
Yeah,
no!
yeah. That's me. I'm gonna go change my resumes over and talk about how
You
many
know
people
what?
I've
No, no,
killed
no.
and fingers I've cut off.
I'm I'm Bill Murray, whatever his character's name was. I'm gonna help you out. Oh, you're a mean? You know what? We're the fraternity of concierge,
Let's call the boys together.
right? It's like, oh man, I'm in trouble.
When your powers
Let me
combine.
call Tiff on. We used to be on a podcast together, and you know what? I'm there for you.
Be like, hold on, let me make a call. Talk to my kids. Hey, go do this thing I was gonna do. Bye. It's okay. He's got it. He's 12.
Hilarious. Honestly, the more I think about it, I'm probably concierge John. Just
No. Okay, no, I forgot because I was like, I identify with that. I should have stuck with him
you just at work.
because
It's a job.
I want to be accommodating, but I am
Yeah.
tired.
There we go. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, I was gonna say, our generation is probably amongst a Jean.
Yeah, that's funny. Uh, Dame Angela Lansbury was originally cast as Madame D, but she had to drop out. Hmm.
Oh,
A- a-
that's a shame.
I don't think Angela Lansbury would have been funnier than Tilda Swinton.
No, that really was Tilda Swinton.
Mm,
It's funny because I could recognize it. I'm like,
mm.
why do I know who
Yeah,
this lady
she
is? I'm just like,
she was. It took her 5 hours to do that makeup.
that does not surprise me in the slightest because it was so much that
Yeah,
I couldn't see it. I recognize like the facial
yeah. That's what I
structure
was
and
about to
the
say. Something
eyes.
about her facial structure that's what
Yeah,
usually I'm like. I think that's her. Yeah.
yep, got me good. I wouldn't have guessed, but I'm looking at the cast for IMDb right now, and there she is, Madam D.
The
So something I noticed in this movie though,
mhm.
there was a lack of title cards, wasn't there?
They were
They're
there, but there wasn't a
very
lot of them.
subtle.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of them.
Like they type stuff out like when it was a date, you know what I
There
mean?
might only been
But the only thing
3. Like, I definitely know there was a part 2
Mhm.
when he right before he went to the state for the will reading. I don't know if I missed part 3 and part 1, but there was definitely a part 2, Madam D, whatever. Yeah,
Very subtle like graphics though,
yeah.
text, you know what I mean? When we had the opening and it said Old Lutz Cemetery, which is Lutz,
Mhm.
so we're
Oh,
back in
we're
Lutz,
back in
right?
Lutz, yeah.
Um
So he got buried
I thought that
Arthur
was
got buried in Lutz. Huh,
I guess so.
yeah.
Well, wait, is it that he was buried there or it was a bust?
So they just put
You know what I
a
mean?
bust in the cemetery. I mean, if he was that
Oh, it's
famous,
a cemetery, yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, we
I
maybe
did think
we're
that
going
that
too
was how
deep.
all the title
Maybe
cards.
we're going too deep.
Yeah, I don't. I was gonna say like I would have had to watch this movie
Mhm,
by myself on TV, and given myself like 3 hours if I was gonna be taking notes on this correctly.
yeah.
Because I got through the first like 10 minutes. I'm just like, I can't.
Look, in the beginning,
I
I was
can't.
trying to read all of the in 1968 hotel, there was a lot of signs on the walls telling you what to
Yep.
do and what not to do. I was trying to read all of them, and I just gave up.
Yep. It's such a dense movie and it comes so fast. And I know that certain directors like will put out a movie that's too long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're like, it's art. How do I cut art? I feel like genuinely like this movie has such a strong aesthetic direction that it feels like it would have been so hard to make certain cuts.
Mm,
But I feel like that the pace, that breakneck speed that the movie's operating at,
yeah,
lends to like what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just one thing after next. You know, you don't get a chance to rest. You can slow down and figure it all out later.
yeah. 100 minutes. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Uh, it was a fast ride, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was fantastic, Mr. Fox fun. More than, or probably the same. I don't know, but both movies were fun. But this one was definitely more of an adventure
Yeah.
because they do some James Bond
Um,
stuff in it. the
they do.
the
They
mountain
they cover
chase
so many.
was the James Bond moment.
Man, was it? What are you saying? It is like part Shawshank Redemption. It is part Snatch. It is part was it Deuce Bigelow, European Gigolo? It kind of like it covers so many bases. It's just like holy crap, dude! Like
That's funny.
I don't think, not that I think these are actual influences, but at the same time, they really do hit you over the head with just so much detail.
Yeah, I
And yeah, I don't know,
wish
man.
I
I have
knew
high
how
hopes
many
for others, but
miniatures and dioramas and all that
oh
stuff
my
they
god,
made. I couldn't find the actual
the
number.
yep, cable cars, the hotel,
Yeah,
two different versions of the hotel,
yeah.
because there's one when it's supposed to be perfect and pink, and there's the other one where it's supposed to be drab in 1968. Yeah,
The chase scene was all miniatures.
yeah, down the slopes. Yeah, you remember that free ski game? Was it like on DOS or whatever it was? I can't remember. Windows 95. There's like a Yeti chasing you, and you just watch as you go straight downhill.
I wonder if that was inspiration.
Yeah, it's just Willem Dafoe plays a Yeti. The next A24 film, Willem Dafoe is the Yeti.
uh, this is neither here nor there, but I updated my A24 checklist on Letterbox last night. Uh,
Yeah.
I thought it was public, but it's not. So that means I made it just for me. And I don't like saying I'm an A24 stan because now, like, when I first started out, I was like, man, this they have a lot of neat movies, but now it's like that's the everybody is kind of thing, and maybe that's my hipster talking. Like, oh, I liked it before; it's cool, but
Hey, same thing with Wes Anderson, man. I mean, it just is what it is.
but yeah, I'm at like 117 out of like 130 something released movies seen. So
I can I think I can count on one hand how many
I
A24
bet you
movies
I
I've
bet you've seen
watched.
more than you think you have because I don't know.
It's
They
possible.
go back a long time.
Yeah,
Like, I think it was
yeah,
when Hereditary or Midsummer came out. That's when it was like, oh, everyone's an A24 fan, and like they start talking about it. But there's
yeah.
a lot of stuff before then. Like the first movie was that Charlie Sheen movie. The-
I'm just gonna look up that
like
catalog.
those folks who were like, man, A24 don't miss, A24 don't miss. I was like, y'all just got here. Y'all don't remember the life of Charles Swan the Third or whatever.
You're right. I don't. Let's see here. So there is a lot.
Yeah,
Not like I
if
needed
you
to
go to
tell
the
you.
Wikipedia, they have them in order, and you can just go from the top down.
Okay.
But a list of A24 productions or something like that.
Yep. I'm looking at it right now. I know that I've seen some of
Mhm,
them. It's just kind of funny because I didn't even realize the catalog was that high.
mhm.
But yeah, I'll dig more into that later. Let me know if you guys do an A24 series.
Oh no.
Welcome to episode 117 of A24 recap.
So, I think we got all our final thoughts out. Ratings. How would you rate Grand
Ratings.
Budapest?
Well, tell me what you're thinking, where you're leaning.
Oh,
I'm already a Wes Anderson stan,
um,
so I feel like you have to take everything I say with either a grain of salt or a spoonful of
like
sugar.
I don't know
Uh,
how valid our little Wes Anderson miniseries is because I just picked my three favorite Wes Anderson movies, so I can't even. And so I like this one, and like this one, and like this one, as opposed to like talking about one that I didn't like as much. But this one was my favorite.
mhm.
I think I have it as a 9 out of 10, so it's a masterpiece. And I do I own the Criterion? I have to double check. But I if I don't own the Criterion, I would definitely pay full price for the Criterion because, as I stated
Mhm.
last episode, they have like they had like 6 Wes Anderson Criterions before they even had like their third black director. So there's definitely a lot of Wes Anderson Criterions because they love him over there, which I understand. So
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. Personally, so in generally creatively, I'm gonna give it 9 severed fingers out of 10. Uh, Personally, since I am said Wes Anderson stan, um, I think it stands above other Wes Anderson productions
mhm,
in a certain way that I feel like compelled to give it like a 10 out of 10.
mhm.
Nothing is ever going to replace Royal Tenenbaums in my heart.
Okay,
I would love to see him go back to something a little bit more like upsetting, I guess. Like Royal Tenenbaums was kind of upsetting in a
okay.
lot of parts. Uh,
I
I would love to see him kind of try that again. This is really fun. I don't mind this though. You know what I mean?
kind of. I mean, I really want to rewatch Moonrise Kingdom, but we should probably do something different because I didn't like French Dispatch. But I want to know what you thought of French Dispatch. So yeah,
I can give it some time.
when you can check it out, it should be. It's weird. It was on like 3 streaming services, including Disney.
They really want people to watch it.
Well, no, it's you know what I realized? It's Disney bought Fox, and he
Yep.
most of his movies are Fox Searchlight, and after Disney bought it, it just became Searchlight. So that's how come it's like on. He got some stuff on like Isle of Dogs and French Dispatch is
That was
also
another
on
one. Yeah.
Disney Plus and Hulu, and some stuff is on HBO just because I guess it's they be licensing stuff. So like their Disney things, they only let go to Disney, but
Hmm.
their acquisition studios, they'll license those stuff out.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see where I can find that. Yeah, I mean just it's just kind of like a personal thing. Like I would love to see him kind of go in a different
Yeah,
direction
I want to see more
as well,
animated.
but yeah, well, I'm sorry. Wait,
I
what?
said I want to see him do more animated stuff.
Oh, I thought you said anime. I'm like, whoa, Wes Anderson
Yeah,
anime.
it would definitely be a slice of life.
Uh, you know what? Fine. I think it'd be really funny if he paired off with Junji Ito.
Well,
Uh,
that'd be wild.
so
You know,
dude, well, Junji Ito got his drawing style, I guess, because his sisters used to read mangas, but since they were mangas geared towards teenage girls,
yeah,
the art style was so much more different.
huh?
So that's basically kind of like you see it after you hear that, you're
Yeah,
like,
I get it now.
oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that's why everybody's kind of like skinny and attractive, but
yeah,
unless they're not, in which case they're
yeah. Hit
horrible
some monster
caricatures of human
or like
beings.
Tomie. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, yeah. Like she's like beautiful except for when she's really
Yeah.
not. I would love to see a Wes Anderson Junji Ito
If
collab.
I had
That'd
to
be awesome.
say the closest anime to that reminds me to Wes Anderson, there's one that came out 2 years ago called Odd Taxi. I mean, you saw Odd Taxi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've yet to watch it in full. I know it's on the
Ah,
list.
shame.
I know I'm a bad viewer.
It's all right. I'll forgive you eventually. But
That's
that's
fine.
one of my all-time favorites. And if you get all the way through it, you'll probably understand. Or you might have watched enough to understand like that main character. If we did an episode on Odd Taxi, I would definitely be like, that's me.
I was gonna say, man, if you do more episodes on stuff that's just like I was talking about Face Off earlier,
Mhm.
uh, something that doesn't actually like require like in depth analysis of like character drive, development, kind of just however you know what I mean. Like
Mhm.
Wes Anderson, super high amount of detail. It feels like so much more thought is put into it. But if we're watching like a Michael Bay movie, like, do you see how big that car blew up? That shouldn't happen at all. You see how close he was to that explosion? Should have ruptured all of his organs. Um,
That's kind of how we were with was it Moonfall?
oh shoot, I don't even think I've seen Moonfall.
It's stupid. Just you could watch that drunk. Like
Oh
it'll
yeah,
probably make it
I
better.
love that. I think that's what I tried to do the first time with this movie, and which is why I didn't remember as much as I
Oh
did.
no.
Yeah, it really requires a heightened amount of detail on my part to actually like sit down and
I'm
watch
wondering
it.
what Fantastic Mr. Fox would be like drunk.
A fever dream. I don't know. I mean, would you watch a Fantastic Mr. Fox like Odd Taxi adaptation?
I see what you mean. I would, but yeah.
I try it.
Yeah.
I try it. but my opinion doesn't really count because I'd watch pretty much any Wes Anderson movie at least once,
Yeah,
just to
I got you.
put it on the list. But yeah, for me, 9 out of 10 fingers, 10 out of 10 personally. I own it, which is enough to say, like, if I'm willing to buy a movie,
Yeah,
um, that means a lot. So I do have a physical copy, which I had just found the other day, after trying to figure out where to watch it.
yeah,
But yeah, I recommend to strangers, emphatically.
awesome. So, yeah. On that note, we have completed part 2 of our Wes Anderson miniseries. Uh,
We did it.
we did it. We cleared our names. We got the inheritance,
It's
and
a shame you're gonna die soon.
oh no. You know what? I taught you well. You're my lobby boy for life.
Perfect. I look forward to your fortune.
And we'll see you next week for Moonrise Kingdom. That should be fun. I remember loving
Yeah.
it, but I don't remember a lot about it, so it'll be fresh.
We'll see once I rewatch it how I feel,
Yeah.
but
But one of my favorite, like I said this every few episodes, one of my favorite like little genres for movies are kids doing hood rat things with their friends. This is
yeah.
definitely a one of those. So yeah, Moonrise Kingdom. You said it's streaming on Prime.
Yes, I believe so.
All right. So if you're still with us, shout out, our 3 dedicated listeners. uh, that's next week's movie. So catch yourself up. And on that note, anything you'd like to plug? I don't remember your plugs, but I'll let you say it.
No, not necessarily, but my wife and I do a little bit of graphic design on the side. We're Power Bummer on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Feel free. Anybody wants to, talk, get something set up.
Yeah, buy some stickers.
Yeah, we got a bunch of those.
Uh, you can follow the podcast at SGBK Podcast on Twitter. You can follow me personally on Letterbox at Tiffzilla. And I hope all of your wildest dreams come true. Have a good week, guys.
Yeah, go secure that bag. Bang those old white ladies.
Yeah, and not too much cologne.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, later.